Now, so after having now tried blue milk, green milk, LeFous Brew, Butterbeer Frozen, and Butterbeer Liquid, I can safely say the best goes to...
My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and one of the questions I get asked none of the time is, Matt, why do you love the theme parks so much? And one of the big reasons is because they're just a wonderful escape from reality, where you just get to step into these beautiful worlds that you'd only seen on film or only read about in books. And part of that great immersive experience, tasting the stuff of imagination, also known as overpriced novelty theme park drinks. That's right. Today, I am going to rank all of the imaginary beverages from our favorite franchises. If you follow me on Instagram, you might be familiar with my groundbreaking series, Matt Reviews Disney Foods.
It's good if you like milk, and if you like blue, you will like this. If you like butter, and if you like beer, and you like things cold, you will like this. You know, if you like fruity foam, and if you like hints of toasted marshmallow, and if you like apple juice, and if you like the movie Frozen, you will like this.
This video, however, is going to go into a little bit more detail beyond if you like this, then you'll like this. And I am actually going to rank them from worst to best. In this video, we are going to be looking at the big 3 fictional drinks turned into reality. Those would be Butterbeer, LeFous Brew, and Galactic Milk at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Coming up with a ranking system for these drinks was a little difficult because on the one hand, you have to rank how they hold up just in terms of taste as a beverage. But on the other hand, you have to rank how they hold up in terms of whatever expectation you had from the precedent that was set by the film, book, or whatever that you know this fictional beverage from. So I have come up with the following ranking system. It's going to be out of 10. 5 points will be for taste. So a score out of 5 just purely based on, do I enjoy putting this into my body? The next score is also going to be out of 5, and it's going to be a ranking based on how well the beverage holds up to its fictional counterpart. So if it holds up exactly like you imagined, then that is a solid 3 out of 5. Makes sense? Good. Let's go. Butterbeer. This was a huge deal when the Wizarding World first opened up in 2010, and it still is. So in my imagination, Butterbeer always kind of tasted like a combination of candy corn and kind of like a bitter malted taste. I even asked a bunch of friends and followers on Instagram about what they imagined for the taste of Butterbeer, and I got very similar answers. Not too sweet, maybe a mix of fruit beer and actual beer. Burnt caramel malted milkshake. Similar to ginger beer in terms of depth of flavor and being sweet, but not overly sugary, except not so much ginger and instead a richness and creaminess. So that's what we all imagined. But how does the actual taste of J.K. Rowling approved Butterbeer from the Universal theme parks hold up? Well, technically that depends because there are 3 different versions of Butterbeer. You've got hot Butterbeer, cold Butterbeer, and frozen Butterbeer. And we're going to look at all of them individually, but they have one defining contributing factor, which is the characteristic butterscotch taste. One thing that everyone had in common when they were imagining the taste of Butterbeer was that buttery, creamy texture. Albeit everyone did imagine that there was something kind of balancing that to give it more of a kick, like a savory, malty, beer-like quality. It didn't necessarily deliver on that, but it did give us the butterscotch. So across the board, for expectation, the Butterbeer beverages are getting a 3. Now we're going to rank them by taste. First off, we got our hot Butterbeer. Admittedly, hot Butterbeer is the one beverage on this list that I myself have not tasted, but I am taking this review on very good authority from a friend of mine who is a top-notch Harry Potter scholar, who said that hot Butterbeer was too sweet, but it was okay if you mixed it with coffee. However, it shouldn't have to be mixed with coffee. Before Butterbeer became a real thing, J.K. Rowling herself said that she imagined Butterbeer was like a less sickeningly sweet butterscotch. So from the sounds of it, hot Butterbeer just became the very thing that it set out to destroy. And for that reason, it is getting a taste rating of 2. Combined with its expectation rating of 3, hot Butterbeer overall gets a rating of 5 out of 10. Next up, we've got cold Butterbeer. The big thing with cold Butterbeer is that they're flavors that are very familiar. Cream soda and butterscotch. And they're flavors that I wouldn't have necessarily thought to mix on my own, but at the same time they feel very of the Muggle world, as opposed to something magical from the Wizarding world. The taste is not a perfect 5, but I'm going to give it a very respectable 4 for a grand total of 7 out of 10 for cold butterbeer. Next, frozen butterbeer.
Frozen butterbeer. If you like butterbeer, and if you like things that are frozen, you will like this.
Frozen butterbeer is the closest that this beverage comes to being something truly unique and otherworldly. Now, the flavor profile on frozen butterbeer is virtually identical to what you're getting from the cold butterbeer. So you have that delicious cream soda base with the nice butterscotch foam on top. With the frozen slush on the bottom, you're able to mix in that beautiful butterscotch whipped topping and really appreciate how it mixes with that cream soda taste. And it makes for something really refreshing. And I'm also like a strong advocate of slushy style drinks, and I've never had one that was butterscotch flavored. So that created something that was a little bit more of a unique taste experience. And for that reason, I am going to bump up frozen butterbeer's expectation rating to a 4. So combined with its taste profile of a 4, we get a grand total of 8 out of 10 for frozen butterbeer. Cheers to that. Next up, we have LeFous Brew at Gaston's Tavern in the Magic Kingdom. Of course, it makes a ton of sense that this would be Disney's answer to butterbeer, because just think about it, it goes back to our childhoods. If you grew up watching Beauty and the Beast, the Gaston Tavern scene is just so iconic. You got a ton of villagers having a great time singing an awesome Gast song and enjoying this beautiful, foamy, frothy beverage. And of course, we all knew it was supposed to be beer, but when you're a kid, you don't know what beer tastes like, so you sort of build it up in your imagination. For me, I thought it would taste like the best quality root beer. Or if anyone remembers those So Delicious fruit snacks, kind of like that. But the most important question, how does LeFous Brew taste? My extremely candid answer, disgusting. It is apple slush with hints of toasted marshmallow and a passion fruit foam on top. For taste alone, I am giving LeFous Brew a 2 out of 5. Like, it just, first off, it's just too sweet, and then it's also a weird combinations that don't come together well. And were those flavors even available to French folk in whenever this takes place? Did they have marshmallows? I bet, I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, the modern day marshmallow was actually invented in 19th century France. So, you know what? It might be historically accurate, but that doesn't make it good. I just wanted something that was root beery and delicious. Instead, I got weird passion marshmallow apple mix. So for that reason, it's getting an expectation rating of 2 out of 5 for a grand total score of 4. Sorry, LeFou. There's a reason you're not Gaston. Cheers. Next up, we have the Galactic Milk from Galaxy's Edge. First, let's start with the green milk. The green milk makes its first and most infamous appearance in The Last Jedi, when we see grumpy Luke consuming it in its raw and unpasteurized form. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. The scene is pretty disgusting, and it set the bar very low for expectation, so anything is going to taste better than that. As for the blue milk, it first appears in A New Hope. We see Luke drinking it in the comfort of his home on Tatooine, surrounded by his loving aunt and uncle, and honestly, to me, the blue milk is just like a representation of all the comforts of home and childhood. That's why the best descriptor that I feel I received for what someone thought the blue milk tasted like was the milk that's left over after eating Lucky Charms cereal. Like, that's perfect. At least that's what blue milk is in the movies. This brings us to the big question, what do the Galactic Milks actually taste like? They're creamy, but not like a milkshake. They're full of ice crystals, but they're not necessarily like a slushy. And then after they sit out in the sun for a little bit and you stir them up, then it starts to melt and becomes this really delicious, like gelatinous concoction, which, trust me, is a lot more delicious than I'm giving it credit for. It is amazing. So how do the Galactic Milks hold up to my expectations? They far and away exceeded them. They're so unique. They're unlike anything that you've ever tasted before. And for that reason, because of how they immerse you into the reality of Batuu, they are getting an expectation rating of a whopping 4.5. But how do they taste? They're both made with a base of rice milk and coconut milk, and the green milk contains additional flavors of mandarin orange, passion fruit, grapefruit, and orange blossom. And you're probably hearing all that and thinking that plus milk sounds like an Orange Julius, but you're wrong, it's way better. And the blue milk has the same base, coconut milk and rice milk, mixed with dragon fruit, pineapple, lime, and watermelon. Now it comes down to taste, and this is purely just personal preference. There are people who are strong advocates of green milk, people who are strong advocates for the blue milk. For myself, I'm going to give the green milk a rating of 3 out of 5. It wasn't bad by any means, it's just not something that I would necessarily get again. The blue milk, however, the flavors were so delicious. Honestly, for me, blue milk, taste, solid 5 out of 5. I know that's a strong statement, and I stand by it. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the final rankings. Coming in last and least, we have LeFous Brew with a total score of 4 out of 10. Coming in at number 5, we have Hot Butterbeer. Coming in the number 4 position, we've got Cold Butterbeer. Coming in next in the number 3 spot, we have Green Milk. Coming in at number 2, Frozen Butterbeer. And the number 1 novelty imaginary beverage turned real by a theme park goes to
The blue milk.
9.5 out of 10. All right, folks, there you have it. My personal rankings for all the top imaginary beverages turned real by theme parks. What did you think of the list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I'm also curious to know, would anyone be interested in me doing a video where I try to recreate the drinks based on what we all expected them to taste like? Like, I'm talking making a root beer slush for LeFous Brew, talking about digging up like a 500-year-old buttered beer recipe and tasting that, mixing milk with Lucky Charms and then just drinking that because that's delicious. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, because I'm probably going to do it anyway, so why not film it and put it on YouTube? Alright everyone, thanks so much for joining us again. You know the drill. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please feel free to subscribe to the channel by clicking on my face. And so it is done. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Matt out. Go watch another video.